on to day 8, E for empathy. But first, I want you to comment below, as usual, about how you rested yesterday. Did you take 30 seconds to breathe, go out for a mindful walk maybe, or how about even just becoming aware that you aren't resting? So let's start with our vagus exercise today. Now, unfortunately, this one isn't an exercise that we can do together right now in this moment, but it's one you can use when you're feeling overwhelmed. It's all about getting icy cold. Now, when you're feeling triggered, right, do your nervous system a favor and grab a few pieces of ice and hold them in your hand. And then I want you to notice the sensation. And you're going to hold that ice for as long as you can. Now, of course, if you don't have access to ice, that's okay. You can actually splash cold water on your face. And you might be saying, why would I do that? Well, the cold helps us regulate, and it brings us back to the here and now, or the present. It basically takes us out of our 911 threat brain that can easily get activated, and then it reactivates our rational brain, or thinking brain. And we know, as parents, startling moments that aren't actually 911 scenarios seem to come up a lot. Let's just for a moment imagine the last time your child had a tantrum or your teenager yelled at you. Just take a minute, feel that overwhelm, anxiety. That's when you would grab some ice and bring yourself back to the now. Right? Many parents ask, but isn't it something that we should be getting our children to do? Because they're the ones that are overwhelmed and dysregulated and startling us. That makes sense, and I hear you. The short answer is sure, but it'll be a lot more effective if we help ourselves first. Because when we're more regulated, then we can help them regulate. So while we may not be the cause, or hopefully not the cause of their distress, as our children, they automatically feel what we're feeling. So by using the ice, for example, in this situation, in these heated, yes, pun intended, moments, and then also proactively doing that 6 in, 6 out coherent breathing, it will help us be the anchor that they need. Okay, so today we're focusing on empathy. Empathy is definitely a buzzword in parenting, and there is a good reason for that. So when our empathy is on point, it's like a magic wand that helps our children shift out of that startling for us state, that really dysregulated state, and it helps them calm. Why? Well, when a child feels understood, they don't feel alone in their distress. And feeling connected helps them feel safe again. So without empathy, our children, they don't feel seen or soothed. They don't feel understood. Then their tantrum escalates, and then we all end up losing it. So empathy can be used in different ways. What if our child wants something and we can't give it, aka limit setting? The formula in this case is to empathize, state the facts, and then redirect when necessary. So let's say, I'll give you very common ones, happen for me too with the kids, of course. They come and they say, I want ice cream. You say, okay, you want ice cream. I hear you. And, fact, we're about to eat dinner right now. No, I want it now. Okay, I hear you. Right? We're going to take a breath in that moment because we're already getting a little escalated because of their tone. So I hear you. You really want ice cream. I get it. And it's dinner right now. I know how much you want it. How about we get some ice cream tomorrow right after school? Their response will probably in that moment be a sort of huffing fine, right? Because they're not happy that they didn't get the ice cream, but they can accept that you're being fair, and that fairness comes, you'll see, from our tone. So in this scenario, the words of empathy are the least important part. So I don't want you to take notes of exactly how I said it. Really, I want you to remember the 7:38:55 ratio we talked about for communication last week. So the key to effective empathy is the 38% of that, our tone. In in this example, I maintained a very kind but matter-of-fact tone. I wasn't all like, oh, sweetheart, I know how much you want ice cream, but how about we get some, tomorrow after school? Now, if you had that tone, which, by the way, is sadly how people mistakenly think gentle parenting sounds. Now, if you had that tone, which is not gentle parenting, you would have a child like this. No, I want ice cream now. Sorry, honey. I hate you. Right? Why again? Because that tone, well, it has an air of guilt and sadness in it, right? Feeling sad and sorry that you can't give them what they want. And kids don't respond well to our emotional tones when they're like that, right? Because it's also a tone that kids perceive as, well, one, I can break them. I can feel it. I can break them for sure. And I'm going to get my ice cream. But when we're limit setting, we need to have a clear and firm, not strict tone, so that they hear, hey, I get it, and we can't right now. It's honestly, like I said, a fair tone. So with limit setting, kids get confused if we're too tentative. Oh yeah, I remember one time I was telling the kids exactly this scenario, and they could hear it in my tone that I was going to break, right? They're like, hey, I want to go for ice cream. And I'm like, well, is that really a good idea? And I had that kind of tone, and I'm like, oh no, that's it. And they knew they could break me. On the other hand, another time I've done it the exact opposite way, very clear, very straight up, like, guys, I know you want ice cream right now, and I can't do it. We're going to eat dinner. Let's do it tomorrow, right? And they could hear that. So one tone says, ooh, I can get my parent to change their mind. And the other one says, oh my gosh, they're so mean and unfair. That's if we go into the strict mode. Something like, no, you're not getting your ice cream. Right? So we don't want to be either extreme. We want to be clear and fair. All right, so the formula again for limit setting: empathy and facts, not but. And then when needed, a redirect. Like, we can get it tomorrow. But what about when it's not about limit setting, right? Sadly, a really common experience for many of our children is feeling hurt by a friend or a peer at school. Let's go with this example. Your child comes home and says, Mommy, Alan told me I was dumb today. What? That's not true. You're not dumb. He's dumb. But Mommy, he's not dumb. He's the smartest one in the class. Well, maybe, but you're smart too. Don't listen to him. But he's my friend. You don't need someone like that as a friend. Find someone else to play with. Didn't you say Jasper was nice? In this scenario, we as a parent totally missed the message. Our child was feeling hurt that their friend called them dumb. Understandably, our first instinct is to defend our child. No parent wants to hear that someone is calling their child dumb. The thing is, this child didn't want to get rid of their friend. They were letting you know they were sad. Now, I'm not saying that a discussion with Alan, the teacher, or his parents may not be in order in the future, but for right now, what our child needs is to be understood and soothed. So as a way to help you stay present and empathize with your child, I created a process called Be Fabulous. Yes, it's another acronym. But don't worry, it's not the whole word. It's just BFAB. And this is how it goes. So if a child says something and then we're triggered, we're feeling that, whether it's about limit setting or whether it's about, an outside situation like this one with Alan, it can still apply. So let's go with the situation with Alan. So you hear Alan say, hear your child say, Alan called me dumb, right? We're going to first notice our pang because that feels terrible. And then we're going to take a nice, slow, deep breath. The 4 in, 6 out breath that we talked about, I think it was earlier this week. And so that one is slowing our nervous system down. It's helping us kind of calm and relax. So that would be a 4-second inhale through the nose, 6-second exhale through the nose. You do that a couple of times. It can be done very subtly. So breathe is B for BFAB. Then we're going to be doing E. E is for empathy. Empathy is not for explanations or giving them evidence that they're smart or that they're something else. It's just straight, I get you. So it would be something like this. I'm sorry they said that to you. That must have really felt bad. F in BFAB is for fact. Now this time the fact is just for you, and it's the same fact every time. That even though this is happening to my child, the fact is that right here and right now, our child is safe and well. Even though they're sad, that's okay, we can help them, but they're safe. We want to get ourselves out of that 911 urgent state of having to solve things. So again, this helps us stay present with our child instead of trying to, solve it all, make it better, because we're in our own fight or flight mode. Step 4, A, affirm. That would be just to give them a gentle hug, right? And say, hey, I've got you. Remember the habit of heart? I'm here, tell me more. And then step 5 is believe. This is all internal now. Remind yourself that you can do this, that you can stay present with your child, maybe empathize a little more, and then say, hey, we can figure this out together. So I mentioned earlier how our tone is critically important to whether our children feel our empathy. So clear, neutral, matter-of-fact tones work great for limit setting. A slightly softer tone when empathizing with sadness works well. If they're mad, the goal is not to join them in their complaints, but to match their exasperation with empathic statements like, yeah, that sounds awful, and slowly modeling a more regulated state. Now I have to mention, while well-intended, something I feel that many people make mistakes with in empathy is over-sympathizing. Empathy is not sympathy, okay? And over-sympathizing isn't even sympathy. So this is what it would sound like. Same thing, Mommy, Ellen called me dumb. Oh, no! I can't do it very well, sorry. It's almost like I have to act this one. Oh, no! That's so terrible! That must really hurt you, sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Or let's say they are angry about something and they're complaining, and then we join them in their outrage. Well, that is completely unacceptable. I'm calling the school right now. What this does is makes the situation about us, right? The parent and our feelings. The child becomes more overwhelmed because now you've taken on the distressed state, leaving them to either shut down or become your caregiver, actually, at some level. So in the end, they're left navigating their feelings alone, giving them the message, I, the child, don't matter. Right? So empathy is not about feeling their pain to the point where it's overtaking you. Empathy is about being able to understand their experience and reflect that back to them in clear and calming ways. Now, it's all in the tone. If you're having trouble shifting your tone, tomorrow, during Not Personalizing, I'll be sharing how to use Be Fabulous on yourself. Okay, so when we skip empathy and go straight to facts or redirection, we're at risk of undermining our child's knowing that their feelings matter. Lectures, lessons, defensive reactions, becoming their savior, they don't land, and they won't land until we show them, that we get it. So when we empathize with our child, we are connecting with their experience and in turn them. They feel seen and soothed with our words, tone, and presence. They learn that their feelings matter and that they deserve to be heard and understood. The beautiful part is they also internalize that empathy and learn how to show themselves that same kindness. So empathy allows them to dissolve the charge that comes from experiencing challenging or difficult situations. Our empathy allows them to do that. As the charge dissolves, their brain can start to shift from feeling threatened, sad, angry, nervous, or overwhelmed, whatever they're feeling, to calm and having clarity of mind so that they can navigate situations with greater ease. Our empathy helps them become unconditionally confident. I'm aware of the time, we're a little bit over today, but for today's challenge, I would love for you to do another reflection exercise. I want you to think of a time when your child could have used some empathy from you. Imagine what you might have said to them and with what tone, now that you have a better idea of what empathy really is. And I want you to notice what you feel. Remember, you're not in this alone. I've got you and I believe in you. So please comment yes below if you commit to reflecting on a time when your child could have used some empathy from you. And imagine what you might have said to them now. And tomorrow is day 9. Unbelievable. Letter N, right? Day 9 out of 10, letter N, which means there are only the 2 more days, tomorrow and Friday, of the Fair Parent Challenge part before the Q&A, where I'll be talking about repair and answering any questions you have. Now for the Q&A, thank you. Yes, yay, yay. Amazing, thank you. For the Q&A, if you have questions, please submit them to me via a direct message on Instagram. Or if you're seeing my messages through Facebook, then you can messenger me there as well. But the idea is to send me some questions you have so I can answer them at the live. And of course, please join live and ask your questions live. That would be wonderful as well. All right, so tomorrow we're going to be focusing on a very challenging part of parenting, not personalizing what our children say to us. See you tomorrow. Bye.